The One Church plan grew out of rich conversations of how does the local church handle the question of LGBTQ inclusion now. And whether you come from a more traditional space or a more progressive space, my experience is people have gay people in their churches. And so we want to honor that. We want to understand that our current members are either people who are gay themselves, or they are family members, or they are close friends. And because of that, we're all trying to do the work in an honoring way. The One Church plan realizes that we don't all believe the same thing about LGBTQ inclusion. For instance, some feel that having a church that's open to gay people is sufficient, and that's enough. Others feel that the current language of the Book of Discipline can easily be read as being offensive to gay people or their family members or their friends. That when we say we accept all people, but we find the practice of homosexuality to be incompatible with Christian teaching, that in many ears that rings as a rejection of gay people. And so I think the One Church plan tried to deal with all of those differences. It also understands that in the African context and in other Central Conference spaces, we're just not in the same place around these questions as we are in the United States. So it tries not to have a US-centric view. It tries to allow different people to exercise their own judgment in their own cultural context, whether that's in Africa or in the United States or Europe or the Philippines, wherever you might be. The other part of the One Church plan is trying to honor people who hold traditional views. And so when you read the legislation, it goes out of its way to say you have religious liberty. And if you are a pastor who chooses not to do a same-sex marriage, no DS, no district superintendent, no bishop can require that of you, because I think a lot of traditional people feel that if we enter into this future where the language changes and goes away, and marriages for gay couples are allowed, or ordination of a qualified candidate for ordination who is gay and who is married is allowed, they feel like maybe one day they'll be required to do that wedding, or they'll be required to ordain that candidate if they're a bishop. And so it really takes pains to honor the traditional space within the denomination. Now, at the same time, it understands that that may not be sufficient. You know, that as we work through the plan and we've gotten feedback on the One Church plan, we understand that some traditional people feel that if there's any change, that's unacceptable. But there are many traditional people who feel that, hey, if you can just honor the fact that I'm not ready to do that, or I'm not going to do that, that would help me a good deal. Well, that is what the One Church plan tries to do. But it also says that if you are a person who would like, a pastor who would like to perform that wedding, or if you are a conference who would like to ordain people, you will have that ability as well. So the One Church plan, it denotes the complexity of our current denominational situation. There are a lot of United Methodists, millions of United Methodists across the globe. We do not have uniformity of understanding of how to do LGBTQ inclusion. And the One Church plan represents that, and it gives you the largest array of options within your missional field, and it puts a lot of trust in clergy, in congregations, in conferences, to discern this and then figure out what is best in your missional field. At the same time, it doesn't require conferences or churches to make decisions. And it gives clergy a new freedom that they've never had before. And if someone asks them to do a wedding, then they would have to make a decision. But if no one ever asked them to perform a marriage, then they certainly would never be performing a marriage.